Welcome to Betting on Recovery, the Addict's Voice, where we dive deep into the journey of overcoming addiction. Join us as we share powerful stories, candid conversations, and expert insights that illuminate the path to recovery. Together, we'll explore the challenges, triumphs, and real-life experiences that shape our understanding of addiction and resilience. I'm your host, Blair Ball. Let's get started. Hey, it's Blair. I want to introduce our first guest real quick. We are so lucky that he is here with us. His name is Doug Martin. He is a peer certified recovery coach. He is a compulsive gambler himself. He has been in recovery for 2.5 years. He has over 40 years as a compulsive gambler. He is an amazing guy. He has blessed my life so much, and I'm so proud to call him my friend. And with that, here's Doug. Doug, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So, Doug, tell me a little bit about what you do currently right now.
I currently am the house resident manager and peer recovery specialist at Algamus here in Goodyear, Arizona. And what that entails is we have a house that has inpatient recovering gambling patients. We call them clients. And we have anywhere from 3 to 10 people in the house at a time. They come from all over the country, all over the world, everywhere you can imagine, Israel, India, most surprisingly or not surprisingly in gambling, a lot of them come from the East Coast, and it's a mecca for gambling. That's where it started. That's why there tend to be more from there. But our house is one of the rare few in the country that does this, and I'm lucky to be there. That's what I do on a daily basis. I literally run the house. I make sure they get to their meetings. I run my own meetings with them every morning, and on certain nights. I'm basically encamped with them all.
So you live with them?
I live with them. My office and my apartment are with them.
So, like with my job, I go to work. I see patients. I'm a nurse practitioner. 6 o'clock, I come home. Where's that separation with you and the clients?
That's an excellent question, and the answer is there is none.
There is none.
There is not a separation, and it is the most challenging part of my job because I do not get away from them. It's kind of the nature of my job because I have to be there. Mm-hmm. I understood that when I took the job. I was not in the gambling business at all up until gambling recovery business still 2 years ago, when life steered me this way. But I couldn't imagine wanting to do anything else with my life. And just the opportunity and the position seemed to be like everything else in my life ever since the stopping of my gambling. It's been kismet. It was meant to be. Right. I was meant to be here. If you had asked me 5 years ago would I be in Goodyear, Arizona, I'd just laugh. I'd be like, where's Goodyear, Arizona?
Right.
And now I couldn't imagine being anywhere else, and that's where I'm supposed to be right now. Getting into my story a little bit. After college, I was in a business of flipping houses. And I'll jump into my story a little bit real fast. And I controlled other people's money. They invested with me and a partner. I took some money out of an account and did not put it back right away. I was going to put it right back in as soon as I won the money gambling. Mm-hmm. But of course I didn't win, so I couldn't put it back right away. And before I could return it, they found out, and all of a sudden I had criminal charges against me. I was a 23, 24-year-old kid who never was an all-American boy, football star, wrestling star, never been in trouble. And now all of a sudden I have criminal charges against me.
Right.
And it was sobering, but getting into the gist of why you and I are here, gambling is such a strong addiction. It barely slowed me down. It barely slowed me down.
When you did that, were you feeling that shame?
Shame is a word, as you know, you and I talk about this all the time. Shame is a big word to me. Mm-hmm. As I sit here today, I have no shame.
Yeah, me either.
I have guilt. Guilt is you did something wrong in the past and you regret it. Shame is doing it. You're feeling bad about yourself and not having done anything about it and letting it continue to fester. Those are different things. When I deal with our clients and the people I deal with their addiction, I tell them shame has to go.
Yeah, absolutely.
You've got to get away from it. It's not going to help you. Yeah. Shame is not going to get us anywhere. Yeah. When I deal with our clients, the most important thing, forget about shame, forget about guilt's important, but the most important thing I always say to them is we have to attack our illness. You're not going to sit back and you're not going to get better waiting for some miracle to happen. You've got to do it. Right. I'm getting way ahead of myself about how I saw things. I want to say something about it. What you said to me, did I think about it? Uh-huh. This is the weirdest, here's the thought I have all the time. I was 19 years old. I can tell you exactly where I was, sitting in a chair in my living room at my parents' home. It was Saturday afternoon. I'm watching a football game, had a couple dollars on the game. I remember just looking out the window, and this is unbelievable. This is 40 years ago. And I said to myself, am I ever going to go to jail for doing something about gambling because I feel like I can't control myself? Right. And I remember saying it to myself. And I'm like, no. I would never do anything like that. I was my moral compass I thought was really good. I respect the community. Everyone loved me. And unfortunately, as I've said before, that is a problem.
They trust you, right?
Because they trusted me, and for no other reason than I was Doug Martin. Yeah. And you shouldn't, not saying you should not trust people, because people should, people are good people. But I didn't earn the trust, and I used that trust that people had in me against them, and to my detriment, to their detriment, and there's the regret I have. Now, regret is different from shame. I regret many things I've done. Would I have done it differently? For sure. Do I think I could have controlled what I was doing? Absolutely not. Right. Because I would never, when I would sit back and think about the things I'd done, many a night I just never slept. I couldn't sleep because, it made me realize that I was not in control. And I knew, and that's why my story is a little bit unique. Yeah. I knew for a long, long time that I was a compulsive gambler. But I just kept surviving because it's not the gambling, it's the lying. And that's what people, they can forgive.
In a relationship like that, whether it's husband and wife or boyfriend, girlfriend,
or friends,
partners, friends even, money it's monetary. It's not, you can get attached to it and it can be really hard. But that bond that you have with somebody, and I consider you one of my best friends now. And if something were to happen where you took advantage of me, man, that would break my heart. And so I think about that with my wife. There were times where she would approach me hey, I think that there might be something going on. Right. And then just that whole nah, it's good, I'm good, everything's good. And then, for me, one of my ways of getting out and gambling, being a provider, drug companies will invite us to go to dinner so that they can promote their drugs. Mm-hmm. And I would go to all the dinners I could, get a free filet mignon. Sure, that's pretty nice, Mm-hmm. But then it was always, hey babe, I gotta stay to network. When really, I was driving home, hitting the 101, going to Desert Diamond, playing blackjack. And until I got 5 texts from my wife hey, what's going on?
Some dinner, right?
Yeah. And then I would come home, and that's the point. That's where that shame at that time, and even when I finally came out to my wife about everything, so much shame. But I can look back now and say I don't have any shame about that. I regret that. I've had guilt about it. We've talked about it, but I can't have shame because it's in the past.
And that's the wonder. That's the wonder of our groups and the things we attend together is to watch it to dissipate. Yeah. When people start to understand what's happening to them, the dopamine, the actual physical effects of gambling, the fact that you're not alone, that you're far from alone, that there's so many of us out there with the exact same story. Yeah. It's not like we all had to go buy a machine gun someplace and hold up a bank. That's not what we did. Right. We all hurt people we love. You said an important thing. What's your friendship worth to me in my lifetime now? there's nothing, there's no money, there's no money. Someone couldn't walk up to me and say right now, Blair's a nice guy, but here's $10,000. I don't talk to him anymore. It's not going to happen because my values have changed.
Right.
We did a thing last night in a smart recovery thing group I went to, and it was list your values, your 5 values. The whole room did it, and the most important part was not one of them. Their value was gambling. Not one of them. Not one person. But all of them were the same thing. Honesty was honesty, relationships, love. Things, and as we talked about it, you see how they move. Which ones matter to you at certain points.
Right.
How honesty I have to me now. Honesty is everything to me.
Yeah, Doug has he was at the first GA meeting I ever went to. I think it was probably that meeting, or maybe a week later, you had spoken about honesty and I don't lie anymore. And you said, I take it to the level of, if a girl asks me if she looks nice, I'm not going to lie. And I remember at that time,
heavy in this dress.
Yes,
believe what I said.
At that time, I remember thinking I'm never lying again. And I went home and I made it like this. I'm not lying anymore. So tell me about this. I don't lie anymore.
For me to say this, even, because one thing I always knew, and this is not, I'm not saying this in any kind of smart ass thing. I've always been a liar. Mm-hmm. I lied. I lied. I tell you what, where it started for me, this is me. Everyone has their own story. Mm-hmm. I was the 5th child of 5. Every one of my siblings was addicted to either drugs or alcohol. Both my parents were alcoholics. My childhood was terrible. This is not a woe is me story. I will never, it is my story. And where the lying comes in is I was embarrassed by what I would have at home. Friends would go over to other friends' house. I would lie. I would say, well, my mother, she's busy. She's drunk. Right. My mother was at work. My mother she was at the bar. My friends knew she was at the bar. They knew the bar she went to, but I learned never to let anybody in. And it affected me for most of my adult life. The thing I've learned through dealing with so many people just in these last couple of years is, we're all the same, but we're different. At different quantities. How much you lost. I've lost a lot of money. Over 40 years. Right. I've done, my story is very unique. Right. People like me aren't walking. I'm a dinosaur. I understand that.
Yeah, I don't know how you went 40 years with a compulsive gambling addiction.
And without ever asking for help. And the majority is, now we're going to get into the other thing, is I would literally look for a GA meeting 25, 30 years ago. Uh-huh. And I would read about it. And the first or second line was always God. Yeah. And if you had had my childhood, God was the last person you were talking to. Right. And that's how I used to think. Mm-hmm. There is no God. No God would allow me to have the childhood I had. I'm not kids have gotten it much worse than me, sure. Abuse and stuff, but
yeah.
In my mind,
story.
Absolutely. In my mind, God wasn't there for me, and I wasn't going to depend on him. Right. Now, 2.5 years after my fall from grace, I'm not going to sit here and tell you, oh, now I believe in God, but I do have a faith now, and it's, we like to call it higher power, whatever you want to call it, but it's not possible for all the good things that have happened in my life, for there not to have been some sort of intervention, the tides, the sun, the meeting you walking to my meeting on that Friday night. The door could have been locked, right?
That was your first meeting at Algamus.
We've grown up together. I mean, it's crazy.
You're 2 years sober now.
Saturday will be 2.5 years. I'm proud of it. I just thought about it, man.
Dang, man.
That's awesome. 2.5 years.
Yeah, but your first meeting with Algamus as the
director of the
groups.
Yep. I remember you were in Scrubs too. So, and of course, when I'm trying to figure it out, I'm thinking, what's going on here?
Who's that?
Right.
This girl on crutches.
This beautiful woman you had with you, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm literally trying to figure you out. Right. And it came to reading. And she actually offered to read it, and she said she was here to support you. And I'm trying to figure the story out. That's it's a natural thing to do. But I was thinking to myself, what a cool thing! I didn't know you 10 minutes ago. Yeah. And I mean, in our friendship, every meeting became more. And the thing is, as we sit here, we have not yet gone to a dinner or anything like that. But our friendship is our gambling. But of course, it's going to be much more than that in the future because as my schedule doesn't lead to that. But if I had more time, you'd be the person that's been. And this is not. This is
a game that we're going to be going to.
Yeah. I'm so excited.
Yeah,
it's a little thing.
The Jets suck.
The Jets do suck, but they could win 3 games between now and then. But that's important to me.
Yeah.
That's a really important day for me because I'll tell you how committed I am to my job, and you know this, and I'll tell whoever's listening. I've been here 9, almost 10 months now, and there's been 2 days where I did not work for my company. 2 days.
Where you had the full day
off, and that's only because I left town. I went to Las Vegas to see my ex-wife to help her with a procedure. That's it. And that's
a lot of
it's too much. And and this is where we have to edit some of this out. But my bosses know that, and I hope they hear that. I'm not afraid to tell the truth. But the reason is, I realize it when I step back. It's a lot, but I don't look at it as that much of a hard thing because I really know I'm helping people. This is the cliche-ish of cliche things. I think I was born to do this. I really believe that I'm here for a purpose to save. When these 23-year-old kids say to me, the last thing they say to me when they leave here is that I'm saving lives. Mm-hmm. A 23-year-old kid, it affects me because I believe them. Right. They have no reason to say that to me, And
well, as a successful nurse practitioner with a family, and I'm doing well in life, you've affected my life as well too. So just even for a 23-year-old, but what you do is amazing. Again, going back to you were born, this is your calling. I feel that same way in that I don't think it was my calling, but because of what I've done, and I'm really big on the money that I spent gambling, I'm going to just chalk it up to an education. It's like going to get extra degrees. I spent money to get an education and I cannot let that go to waste.
Right.
So I'm going to do whatever I can to, that's part of it. But then also, again, I really care about these people. And I can see that you care about your people that are in the house.
I'm glad you said that because I don't think you can fake that level
not
of caring.
Level, no.
You can't. They'll know. Gamblers are 2 things. They're competitive, very competitive, but that's another thing. But they're smart. Mm-hmm. Gamblers are smart people on a whole, and you're not fooling them. They know how to fool you. I deal with these kids who are trying to talk themselves, not kids, we're 23 to 75-year-old men who are trying to convince me that they're not gamblers, and I know they're gamblers, and they're trying to, And what's incredible in 5-6 weeks is, and you are one of the great barometers for me. You're a tool for me. I don't even know if you know that. When you sit there and tell these kids how much they've changed, and I keep saying kids, but 50-year-old, 60-year-old men, how much they look differently in your eyes. Then they say, "Holy shit!" The people are seeing it. Besides Doug, Blair sees it. And
people that aren't with me 24/7.
It's like watching your kid grow up.
Yes,
like watching your neighbor's kid.
Yeah, and it means that's why I love to share it with them because I want them to know that you're making changes. And again, what you're about to do is going back into that real world, and you're on this high of I'm making changes, and the people that you let down, they're not going to feel that way about you. They're going to still be upset. It's going to take a while.
When we've had this discussion in our groups and stuff, and when I tell people, you can't buy back respect and honor. You can earn it back. You can take the time to be a good person, to do the right thing, and people are paying attention. The same people who watched you fall, they're watching you come back again. I don't talk about this much, but the girlfriend I had, we went to high school together, and we acquainted, and we had 500 mutual friends on Facebook.
Right.
Well, 250 of them unfriended me when she.
Yeah, you've mentioned.
Yeah, and slowly, I had put, I like you, I'm not ashamed of anything. I put it on Facebook, and I let the world know the emperor has no clothes. I don't care, and what I care is who I am now. And every other day, every couple of days, a friend request comes back. Someone came back. And some of them want to yell at me. Some want to say, "You hurt this girl." I don't want to say her name, but then we love her, and I tell them I love her. I loved her too.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't want to hurt her, and you know that's why things like this are so important to me. Me and you talking, and me getting to have our meetings, because I get to tell the world my story and where I'm at, why it won't happen again, why I hurt that I've hurt people, but you know I'm back and I'm going to help people, and I'm not going to let this keep. You know, I know this is. After you go through your next 10 people, I'll come back and we'll go through 25 more hours of this, of what's coming. You and I both know what's coming, you know, and I feel like it's funny, you know, you're being in the health business, and I tell you how I want to make sure that I'm feeling better and get on top of my health, lose weight, because I want to be around.
Yeah.
I want to be there to help people. Mm-hmm. And it's the most unselfish, if you had asked me when I was 19, if I was a selfish person, I would say, no, I'm a great guy. Everyone loves me. Everyone loved me.
Right.
But I wasn't giving anything back to anybody. I was being a fake friend. I would have lied to your son or daughter. Yeah, I'll be back.
Right.
Nah, I wasn't coming back. Right. But I wanted to come back.
Right.
If that meant anything. But I was so easily lying. It became who I was.
Yeah.
And when you become an adult, it makes it easy.
Yeah.
And taking money sounds like, some people just think, it's not your money.
Right.
I know it's not my money. I know. I didn't plan on keeping it. Right. I was going to get even, which is the name of the book I'm going to write. I don't want, right in hell, I'm just trying to get even.
That's right. That's right.
And that's what we do.
Yeah. Let's talk about what led you into getting help. Finally, like you said, you in the past, you looked up a meeting, you didn't really have anywhere to go. I think for me, I might have YouTubed like gambling addiction, like how do I stop gambling? I didn't even know about GA until my wife was in treatment.
Right.
And
you didn't even know.
And I went to treatment for their family week, and like in the back of the book, there was like a gambling section, and I was like, oh shit, I hope she doesn't see this. Like this might bring out a conversation that I don't want to have.
Right.
And that was the first time I knew that there was that gambling was, even as a provider, an addiction, and that there was treatment. So what led you to go
This one's
to
easy.
get to that point?
This one's easy, as you know, and you know my story, but I'm more than happy to tell it. May 27th, 2.5 years ago, I was living with my girlfriend, nice big house in New Jersey, gambling, fooling her the entire time. We'll talk about the Home Depot some other time, and it's because the money and all this. And I was living the same life I had led for 40 years with different women, different people in my life, never letting them on, somehow surviving, somehow. Like I remember one thing she said to someone later, because she had me thinking I was crazy. It was because I was lying to her about things like, you cashed that check. Well, I cashed that check. Right. I convinced her that she did. That's how good I was.
Gaslighting.
Yeah, I gaslighted her. And she literally told people that she had me thinking I was crazy. But that's how good I was.
Right. And we don't mean to laugh. No. Oh. We don't mean to laugh, because I know that there were people who'd be like, you're laughing about gaslighting somebody?
No.
But at the time when we're in that addiction, we can't rationalize at all.
Not at all.
And so we look back now and we laugh about it. The laughing is not that you did it. It's that, why did I do that? I can't believe I did that.
I'm glad you said that.
Right.
Because there is there's no humor in what I've done in my life. On top of hurting a lot of people, I hurt myself more than any of them. I could have had such a better life, a more genuine, better relationships than I did. I wasted so much of my life on a half-ass addiction of gambling that gave me nothing back.
Right.
As you've heard me talk about it, I used to look at gambling as a friend. Gambling was my friend. He was there in the good days and the bad days. He was never my fucking friend. Sorry, he was never my friend. And he had to go.
Yeah.
And on May 27th is the date my significant other had found out about my gambling.
And how did she find out?
The main bill was the Home Depot bill.
Okay.
She got a hold of it. I controlled that credit card, and she had suspected something, as COVID had come.
Yeah.
She was home all the time now.
Right.
Before I could manipulate what was happening with bills and stuff like that. There's a funny story about this. The Discover bill would come as the one paper bill. Have I told you this one? It was the one paper bill we would get in the mail. I would check the mail. She always wondered why I would run to get the mail.
Yeah.
I always knew it came on the 17th or 18th of the month. She would literally be at the end of the driveway. We had a very long driveway. I would have the bill in my hand. I would hand her the mail and hug her because I'm such a great guy, and throw the Discover bill into the garage and hope that it landed in these boxes.
Somewhere she would see it.
I did this for 12 years for never seeing that Discover bill.
Yeah.
Well, once she saw the Home Depot bill, by the way, we had our balance at the time when she went online and looked it up was $18,000. She did the smartest thing she could possibly do. She put a restraining order on me. She went to a judge and said that I could be erratic, which is untrue, completely untrue. I'm a very honest person. I'll tell you exactly if I could have been that person. But it gave her the tool to get me out of the house, because I'll tell you why. She knew that if I stayed in the house, I would have convinced her that she was wrong and that I'm going to go to GA tomorrow. And I had it all planned.
So did she know? So she knew you were gambling.
She knew I was gambling a little bit, tiny little bit, like Saturdays.
So now she starts putting the pieces together.
Right. Sees the bill.
And at that time, were you telling her you were going to GA?
No.
Okay.
No.
So you were never going to GA.
No, I had a plan.
Okay.
I had a plan. When and if I got caught, I was going to GA the next day.
Gotcha.
And I was certainly going to sit in the parking lot and not go in.
Right.
I'm being honest. That's exactly what I was going to do. I had always planned on doing this. I knew inevitably lies can't go on forever. Lies become, especially, and when you get older, like me, you start forgetting your lies. And I was forgetting my lies.
Right.
And it's not, once again, it's not funny, but it is the comical life of a compulsive gambler. And she found out, she got a streamer. I woke up 9:30 at night. I believe it was a Thursday or Wednesday. 2 policemen standing next to my bed, gave me 15 minutes to grab whatever I could in my possessions and leave.
At that time, did she say to you, Doug, I know that something's going on?
Her exact words to me were, the last full sentence she's ever said to me was, "We don't have $18,000 worth of effing lawn equipment." And I, at the time, my life is falling apart, chuckled, because she's right.
To hide the money, you would go to Home Depot, buy gift cards.
$300 worth of Visa gift cards.
Put it on
FanDuel. I put it on FanDuel, right on the FanDuel.
But you'd buy, so you'd use your Home Depot to get a Visa card.
Right. And Home Depot kept giving me a higher and higher limit.
Right.
Here, take another $3,000. You weren't helping me. And every once in a while, I would hit something and I'd pay someone off.
Sure. And
I was robbing Peter to pay Paul for years. And that alone, the mental,
the stress
of that is exhausting.
It is.
And we call it bandwidth now. I wasted so much of my bandwidth lying and deceiving, and it was. And you know what I would think though, Blair. And there would be the times at night when I would just lay there by myself and I would say to myself, man, you are so much better than this. Why are you hurting people? They don't even know you're hurting them, and just stop. And I couldn't stop. I couldn't.
Me too. I would have that, like, you're such a piece of shit. You have to stop. Why can't you just stop? Like,
I couldn't.
And again, that leads to what thoughts that I had that luckily I didn't ever try to harm myself, but then it leads into the next part of your story.
4 days later, I had one friend, a friend of mine, Rich, who stepped up and had been a friend since I was 10 years old. Didn't condone what I had done. He was hearing the same stories from her. She was good friends with him too. He knew what I had done. I fooled him too for years. But he was willing. He knew. He's smart enough. I'm not saying the rest of them aren't smart. He knew I had a sickness. And he had known I've been gambling my whole life.
Right.
Anyway, he was willing to help me a little bit. He gave me money to get a hotel room. I literally went from a house, car, nice car, money, lots of money in the bank to nothing. Not $1, 50 cents in my pocket. Had a few dollars on a credit card that I thought I could, maybe if I go get that $50 or $60, I could run that up. That's how sick I was. My life was in tatters.
Yeah.
I'm going to run that $60 up and I'm going to be okay. Sickness. End up in a shitty hotel room outside Atlantic City, and I was also to add to the story a little bit. I was using prescription drugs to calm myself down because I was Xanax, couldn't sleep, Ambien, pain medication I needed it, but didn't really need it the way I was taking it, and and this is early in the month. This is June 2nd. I had just gotten my prescriptions filled. And I literally, just shorten it as much as I can, took a whole bunch of pills, like 55 oxycodones, 15 milligrams. I always say about the numbers because it's unbelievable.
This is insane.
Yes, it is. It's insanity is what it was. 25 Ambiens, 10 milligram Ambiens. One makes you goo goo gaga. I took 25. And 20 bar Xanaxes.
Right.
All at once.
So,
and,
when you kind of say it, and I'm not trying to ever say this is the reason why you should believe in a God or whatever. Well, the first time you said that, I was like, there's no way he took that much.
First doctor told me that too. Didn't believe me.
So that would have killed anybody, man. So again, I would never say like there's a higher power, regardless of what that is, right?
I will.
You're alive for a reason.
I should have died that morning.
Yeah, absolutely.
And sometimes I don't think I've ever shown you the picture, but I literally took a picture of the pills before I took them. And I had them laid out in the bed. Now, why I did it, I really cannot tell you that night I decided to kill myself. I just wanted to stop the pain.
Yeah.
I had been, and I'm talking 60 years of pain, not 2 months, 2 days, 5 days.
Go back to your childhood.
I was living it all because I had nothing but a ceiling to stare at.
Right.
I had a TV on in a hotel room. I didn't watch any TV. I didn't eat for days afterwards too. Dropped it's a good diet, but not the way I would recommend it. I lost like 30 pounds in 3 weeks. But my whole life is literally going in front of me. And I'm thinking to myself, what have you done? Where am I going from here? My girlfriend had also had control of my phone. She turned my phone off. Now I had no connection to the world. Nothing. I couldn't even call up people and scam them out of money, or not scam them and borrow. Let me borrow something. Because now they all knew. The whole world knew my story. Now I'm sitting there realizing that all of these people I had fooled all my life. Now they're all going to know who I am. They're all going to know who the real Doug Martin is. Right. And they're getting her story, which is not off. Her story's true. Yeah. But the addiction part and the thing that you and I are sitting here and talking about, they don't know about that yet. They still don't know about it. And that's why I'm so glad that you and I are here. Yeah. And that we're moving forward, and you picked it up from me, and so many people are going to pick it up from you, and it's important to me because this is where I truly know at the end of the day that I'm a good person, because I don't want anyone else to suffer. I don't want anyone, not one. I don't care if they're the nastiest person in the world. I don't want them to go through what I went through. Yeah. Anyway, I took those pills, woke up in the morning, threw up a couple times, the light blue, which is the color of those 15 oxycodones, sat there trying to figure out if I was alive. I did not know whether I was alive or not. Mm-hmm. I'm looking around in this motel room, and the only thing that tipped me off that I was alive, those clasps they have on the door that you in hotels where you can't break in, it was closed. And all night long, I was hallucinating, thinking I was talking to somebody. But if anyone had been in the room, they couldn't have closed that thing. I would have had to close it. And I was laying on the back. Oh, this is more to the story, which is, you know how I feel about this. I was on the bathroom floor. I broke a pot, and I took some glass and hacked the crap out of myself on my arms. And as you and I sit here, and you see it, and everyone knows what they are. My friends know who it is. I wear this. This was just given me actually last week, and on it, and there's a saying on it, and it says "Lucky me," and that's who I am now. But I wear this. I never wore these before, never. Right. But I want to see my arm. I want to look at my arm every day. I wear this. I want to remember why that. I want to go back to that pain. If ever a day comes when I want to test myself and
you feel sorry for yourself.
That's it. Look at you're alive, man. You're here for a reason. This is where higher power comes in. Because I'll go real fast from here. I don't want to be the longest guest you ever have. But literally, my friend came, put me in another hotel room, said these exact words to me: "I'm going to give you 10 days to get your life together. You need to help yourself, or I won't be here for you anymore." Right. 7th day. I sat there for 7 days in a hotel room next to the Home Depot where I used to get all my money. I'm not kidding. Right next door to the Home Depot. And anyway, so on the 6th day, I called for someone for help. And this is you call it whatever you want. I'll call it higher power. Yeah. A man named Ken Litwack answers the phone. He's a very prominent therapist in the South Jersey area, New Jersey. Answers the phone, talks to me for an hour and a half. Didn't ask me about my insurance card, nothing. Just, how you doing? You okay? You're going to be all right. Everything's going to be all right. Come and see me, come in. And I had nothing. No. In 3 more days, I was homeless.
Right.
He, really trying to shorten it a little bit, he gets me into a sober living house. Now, I went from, this is a week and a half removed from a $500,000 house,
right.
Me and her, that's it, and then
right.
2 cats, to sleeping in a bedroom with 3 other guys in one bedroom. They're all snoring, and I'm staring at them going, where am I, what's happened here? And having recurring thoughts that I can't do this. To be honest with you, I'm thinking, I can't recover. I can't.
Were you having more thoughts of suicide?
I wouldn't say I was going to kill myself, but I didn't know how I could do this. I didn't think I had the internal fortitude to recover from this.
It was just like, I got to get out of here.
Yeah,
I can't do this.
It was more like, what's going to get me out of here? What good thing is going to happen here? Give me an option. You tell me, say, Doug, do this, and we'll help you. There was what help?
Right.
Well, what helped was, literally, I'm a 60-year-old man at this point, almost 60. I start getting on the bus every day, taking a bus to Atlantic City, and going to a program for compulsive gambling and addicts. A lot of addicts too. And did this for a couple of weeks and sat there and realized, this is me. Mm-hmm. And now I got aid from the government. I never got a welfare check, unemployment check in my life. I got food stamps. I'm a prideful man.
Right.
I had no choice. I had no choice but to do these things. And as you sit here, I mean, people find it hard to believe that I did it, but I did. I had. What do I do?
What else?
The
other option is rolling over and doing.
Right, and quitting. And one thing I was a quitter.
Yeah, quitters, right?
That's right. We don't quit, unfortunately. And I knew. I've been given this opportunity with the sober living house, and over the next 6 months, I became a manager of the sober living house. Of course, it just was natural because not saying I didn't belong there, but I was helping them way more than they were helping me. I mean, it was just a place for me. I belonged there. The drugs were part of my life too, and most of the sober living house has nothing to do with gambling. That's why what you're talking about is important. Having houses like Algamus is a 1-outer here. There's nothing in the entire country that are specific to gambling, and that's a joke.
Right.
That is a joke, and
especially with where things are going. Right.
And for most cases, the cost is prohibitive, and insurance is not jumping on board the way it would for drugs and alcohol. They're getting there, but they don't pay nearly what they should, and they're going to have to because the day's coming where the kids don't steal $20 for marijuana out of their purse. They're taking it to go gamble. Getting back to my short story at the end there, and hopefully that'll be long until the end. I started taking classes to become a peer recovery coach. It wasn't easy. It's 500 hours of volunteer work.
So it's 500 hours.
500 hours in a recovery. You have to be in a recovery center for 500. You sign off, you work 4 hours, and there's lots of days there's not 8 or 10 you can work.
Yeah.
There's 4. So you have to go there 150 times, 150 bus rides. I got a bike. I got in pretty good shape. I mean, literally.
I saw the picture of you on Algamus.
Yeah,
I was like, that's a handsome, healthy guy right there.
Someday I'll go back to that guy. I was getting a little complacent here, but Ken kind of was my mentor. Rich stood by me the entire time. He gave me the bike I had. He was, he always was there when I needed a pep talk. He was my guy. And to this day, he'll always be my guy because he saved my life.
So when you were going to that, were you doing any 12-step? Like, did you ever have a sponsor?
Here you go. Ken pushed me to go to GA meetings. Uh-huh. Now, you would find this incredibly unbelievable. Atlantic City, at the time, still a mecca of gambling. Even though it's proliferating through the country, you would think, boy, there'd be a lot of meetings there, a lot of gamblers and stuff. Almost none. Almost nothing. I'd go to a meeting, it'd be the same 3 people at each meeting, or if they showed up.
Wow.
And I'm thinking, this is incredible. And still, once again, God was not a word I was going for. I was just looking for
the support.
I wanted answers. I wanted some answers. So Ken said the next best thing, start your own group. And I'm like, what am I helping you to start a group? He goes, believe me, just believe in yourself. He goes, I've seen it. He used to take me with him to inpatient gambling places he would visit and tell my story and help. And he says, believe me, this is what you need to do. And I didn't believe him because I didn't think, I'm a landscape designer. What do I know about it? What about starting a fucking program? It was crazy to me. But I said, okay. And he's a very convincing man. And that's what I did. I started my own group. I became manager of numerous sober living houses. So I was actually making a living now while I was still making my hours. I bought a car, a crummy 2002 Buick LeSabre or something, the greatest car I've ever owned, because I bought it with my money, and it got me there in the snow. There was no more snow buses. It was the best purchase of my entire life. And I got my hours done, started running a group, had more people come to my group than would come to the GA group. And it wasn't always about gambling, it was about life, about surviving life, about being...
So it wasn't a 12-step program?
No, it was not a 12-step program.
Was there any program, or was it just like this is a support group?
It was a support group, but the program was the stuff that Ken and I were feeding each other. He was giving me stuff to talk about, stuff that he would use in his groups. He would give it to me, and I would work with them. And it wasn't structured 12-step. There was no looking for a sponsor or something. That wasn't what it was. What it was come here, get started, and I'll push you to a GA meeting. Online ones, we used to push people. Anyway, getting the story, it was incredible. I get my piece of crap car, living, by the way, 3/4 of a mile from my house, my original house, passing it on all the time, literally draining the life out of me. And Ken, a year ago August, tells me he had a job offer at an exclusive, one of the best gambling recovery places in the country. I'm like, I'm thinking to myself, I would never ask him. I'm thinking, please, and he says, first he said he wasn't going to take it, then he took it, and I'm just proud of him. He deserves it. And he said to me, which is one of the nicest things anyone ever said, he goes, if a job comes up in this industry, you'll be the first person I'll have them call because I know it matters to you.
Right.
And long story short, a year ago, last December, calls me up, says, I got the job for you. He says, this job is made for you. The owner, I had met one of the other owners of the company, Rick Benson, and he asked me if I'd be thinking about moving to Phoenix. I tried not to jump out of my shoes. Right. Like when he asked me, I'm like, I think I would consider it. You got to use it as a little I got to look a little bit good. You know? And
use it for some negotiating power. It's so hot out there. I don't want to go out there.
I've lived in the desert before. Right. I don't think I want to go back. But I jumped out of my shoes. The position, and Ken was right. The position is perfect for me at this moment in my life. It's what I needed to do. I am a peer recovery coach. I'm not a therapist. I am not. Right. And the difference is I'm one of them. I'm one of us. And the company knows that. If your company they know the value I bring, and I don't mind saying this because I connect with the clients in a way that if you're not a compulsive gambler, sometimes you just can't understand what we're thinking.
People with drug and alcohol addiction, pornography, whatever it might be, eating. Yep. The basis is pretty much the same. Yep. Gambling is something else on its own. It's the weirdest thing.
The weirdest and hardest. Everyone who I've come across who had multiple addictions tells me gambling is by far the hardest. Yep. And dopamine is the key word. It's something people who listen to us don't have to know that word, but it is the chemical in your brain that is released, and is the pleasure from cocaine. Right. Exact same drug element in your brain is for gambling. So getting away from it is so hard, and people think it's.
What's interesting is we've got some buddies that come to the meeting and that have had gambling and meth and crack addiction and alcohol, and I remember talking with one of them and be like, you weren't having fun when you were getting high, right? And he's like, I loved smoking crack.
We know what we're talking about.
You know what we're talking about, right? Right. Like, I loved getting high. Right. Gamblers, I can't look back at a time where I loved being in that. And
as you well know, one of the lines I say to the people in our recovery is when people bring it up to you, what I always want you to ask the person who's talking to you, do you think I'm having fun when I'm gambling?
Right.
I am never having fun. There's no, the $20 you put in the machine and you enjoy that ringing in the bells, that is not what I hear. What I hear is suffering.
Right.
And there's no easier way to explain compulsive gambling than to understand that it's never fun. There's not a minute to me that I'm enjoying making a bet. Not the games, nothing.
Right.
Nothing.
Because when we win, we don't sit there and enjoy it and say, look at, man, I'm happy, let's go do this and this.
Yep.
We don't take our winnings and go buy a new TV.
We can't even sleep. We can't even sleep.
We can't even sleep because it's like, I gotta get back there. I gotta get back there.
It is truly the easiest way to explain to a non-gambler. Just take 1 minute to think about it when I tell you that it is not fun. Yeah. And if you can just think about this for 1 second, that I'm not having fun, then you might be able to put yourself in my shoes.
Right.
Because it's very hard, because gambling, unlike when sometimes when people drink, they have a couple drinks, they feel buzzed and woozy and maybe a hangover, and the next day I'm not doing that again.
Right.
They put $20 in a machine. Next day, they're the same exact person. They still had a good time.
Right.
Didn't affect them at all. But the drugs and alcohol, that affected them. They remember it. They have muscle memory in their brain. Gambling usually comes with a happiness, a joy to it. Forget it.
I think that there probably was, we experienced some of that throughout this time, right?
Sure.
But then once we get into that compulsive gambling addiction, then it goes back.
It crosses over. There's a line that crosses over. There's a fun, there's a happiness to it. But if when we stop and you look back, you can almost pinpoint when it stopped being fun.
Yeah.
At a certain age, certain bets, certain events you did, one lie, one specific lie to your mother, your father, your wife. I remember them. Yeah. I remember sitting in that chair saying to myself, am I going to get myself in legal trouble for this? And I said to myself, nah, you're too smart for that. Nope.
Right.
I did. And getting back to that led me to living in Las Vegas for 25 years, not handling that legal problem because I was not brave enough. Because there's one last thing I want to say about addiction that's important to me. It takes courage to recover.
Absolutely.
Courage. Absolutely. It's not for the meek. A weak person can't recover. They can't. You have to fight it. You have to attack. And that's why I use my football analogies and stuff. But I believe in it. When you're standing still, you're going backwards. When you're going backwards, you're going backwards. The only way to get past something bad is to attack it.
Right.
And that's what we do. That's what I do 7 days a week, maybe 6.
One thing I love about the GA program is it mentions in there, meetings make it. And again, I wouldn't say that I'm following the program. I want to go through the steps. I want to get to that point where I'm going through them. I've gone through the first 4. I've kind of hit like a good stride, and so I've kind of like pushed that off.
Make it your own, though. That's what I say.
Exactly.
Make it your own.
But it goes back to that meetings make it, keep coming back, that damn chant that we do on Thursday nights that I'll never get.
Yeah, I'll never do it.
It works if you work it,
right?
But it's true. And even in just the 9 months that I've had in GA, the people that aren't coming back are the ones that are struggling.
And we know it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's you can see it in the faces of the ones who are struggling. The ones who come back who have relapsed, and you see the distress in their eyes, and that's why I'm a believer in all sorts of different kinds of recovery, smart recovery, which something I want you to do some more of too. Is they're a big proponent of your date's important, but it's not the end all.
Right.
Like if you relapse, it's just a date. You're good today now. Okay, you lost your 26 years, whatever.
Right.
Okay, what does that mean in the grand scheme of things? It means you're sober today. Or you're not gambling today. I'm a big believer in that. I'm not holding it against you if you gambled last week.
Right.
I still love you. I still know you're suffering.
Yeah.
Would I want everyone to have a perfect 12-step program, sponsor, make amends, all of the funds, and really get it? Yes. Is it realistic? Absolutely not.
Right.
So let's help the people who can do it. The ones who can't do it, let's find a different way.
Right?
Absolutely.
Because 12-step isn't going to be for every single person.
And when you get someone like you, and then some of the women who come to our meeting, and people like, I'm not saying me, but we're not the guy in the movie, the degenerate gambler you see in the movie with the cigar hanging out of his mouth or whatever, and cursing and F this and that. We're real people.
Yeah.
You have a very consequential job. You're a real person. My job's important to me. It's important that people understand it's everybody.
Right.
It's not just Louis the Lurch down the street. It's your brother-in-law.
Right.
It's your doctor.
It's who you have no idea. And that's one thing that's why I've again, going back to the money that I've spent doing this, there's gotta be good that comes from this. And I've gotten to that point, and I could have only gotten there by listening to you. And so I owe you this of being true to myself and not lying, and then taking this to a point where I can say, I have a degenerate gambling problem. It is who I am.
First time you said it, man, it resonated through my bones.
Yeah, I can't, and so every time I always say it, and I will always say it, I am a degenerate compulsive gambler.
And you're my friend. And you're a good man.
I'm a husband. I'm a nurse practitioner. I try to do good in my church and in my community. Most people that don't know this about me are shocked when they find out.
I have no doubt.
Right? And that's what I want it to be. I want it to be because we have to normalize recovery. We have to normalize these problems so that those people that are out there struggling.
It's you. Yeah. For you to take the time right now and do this and put it on your page and even your son joking about it.
Right.
It normalizes it, not to make it good, to make it normal. It's life. Normal. Yeah. It's life. Let's deal with it. Yeah. So someone in your family gets cancer, what do? We fight it. Whatever we got, chemo, whatever, fight it. GA, smart recovery, fight this.
Right.
Don't give up. It's easy to give up.
Yeah.
Don't kill yourself.
Right.
No thanks.
And then those people too that are so embarrassed and ashamed, I don't want to cross the line with saying people that are addicts and drugs and alcohol tend to they just live this life. Right. And not to say being homeless, or there's lots of functional people, but being high and being drunk, it's hard to function, right?
Absolutely.
I was able to function in my job. I would see a patient and go into my office and make bets.
Incredible.
Right? And then I would go into the patient, and I in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, what's the score of that game? What's the score of that game?
And did you ever think to yourself, I better not make a mistake?
Yeah. I made so many bets that I'm rooting for the over.
Yeah.
And it hits, and I'm like, yes, I just made that bet. And I'm like, I lost that bet. What the hell?
Yeah.
What I thought I bet the over on that, but I'm functioning in my job, right?
Yep.
And so the goal is, there are so many people out there that I don't want them to be afraid to say, hey, I'm a successful person, or I'm a good person. I have this problem. I can't let anybody know about it because it's going to diminish all the good that I've done in life.
And you know what? You're right to say this because, as you know it, and I guarantee you talk to people, it's looked down upon. Even greater than drugs and alcohol.
Absolutely.
It's like because money is such it's a pliable thing. It's right in front of you. Money means everything to everybody. Right. It's the way you judge life.
Right.
And because gambling involves money, it's judged harsher.
Absolutely.
And it shouldn't be, but it is. And that's where you have to stop it. You got to understand. And once again, I get right back to, if you think I was having fun, you don't know what the freak you're talking about. Because I was never having fun.
Yeah. Never having fun.
Never.
There were times I made huge bets, $20,000 bets, and it was just and thank goodness I won that bet.
Not exhilaration.
I got money because I didn't have to go take out another loan. Yeah. But it was never like, oh my gosh, look how amazing this is.
Isn't it amazing how our stories are all the same?
Yeah.
In different proportions. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Some guys lose, we talk about scratch-off tickets and stuff at $10 here, $20. Rob, our friend Rob, and I'm glad he'll listen to this. He'll tell you his biggest loss ever was $400.
Right.
$400. 26 years ago. He drives an hour and a half to our meeting because it's important to him. That's what I'm talking about. And it took me, and there's my only shame in life. It took me what I went through to get me to be sitting here talking to you, because Doug from 3 years ago would never have told you anything, let alone about my gambling, about my life,
right,
about my relationships, about my growing up, how my mother was, my sister. I'm the youngest of 5. My other 4 siblings are all dead.
I'm the youngest of 5.
Oh my God, man, that's
Me
terrifying.
and Doug have the same birthday.
So same
Youngest of
siblings,
5.
It's crazy, man. And I'm almost the same age as you. No, I'm lying.
Different opinions on some politics.
That's right.
We had a great conversation about politics, and that's one other thing too that I love about GA is we've been able to get to know each other, and it doesn't matter race, religion, political party. You're my brother. I look up to you. I'm there for you anytime.
And you walk through the door, it's a better day for me.
Yeah.
And that is the God's honest truth. When my day gets better, because you miss some meetings, you have a lot of responsibilities with your kids and stuff. Not many, you don't miss many. But when you walk through the door, my day got better.
Right.
Because for multiple reasons. You're my friend. You're a positive person. You make me feel good about myself. It's what you do for people.
Yeah.
It's a gift you have. You make my people feel better about themselves. And I know you're about to make my job easier because of what these people, what you do for them. You're helping me.
Right.
And that's selfish by me because I'm realizing, but you're my friend and you're going to be my friend for a long time. And that's where you get to my job has to be realigned because I need more days like this.
Yeah.
I need this because this is cathartic for me.
Right. When we were trying to get this set up, it took a little bit longer than we wanted to. Scheduling conflicts. I initially wanted to have Doug over for dinner, and he's like, I got the kids at home.
Kids.
And which is true, but you need. This is my medical provider.
Yeah, you're right. No, you're right.
Putting on my medical hat provider. If you don't find that time for Doug, you're going to get burnt out.
There's no doubt.
As a medical provider, I've gone through burnouts over and over and over again because I focus so much on my patients.
And I've got to draw the line myself because I feel like the guy. Sometimes my analogy is the guy who, after a hurricane, is everything has to get fixed now because people are hurting, and I'm in that mode almost every day. Like I can't take a day off because these kids need me, these guys need me, and then I realize you're right though. I am quickly approaching the point where I'm, not questioning anything about my serenity, but I'm tired, and I need a tired Doug is no good,
right?
And
no good in general. Like, and I see it on you on some meetings when I come, and I can see the weight and the mantle, and there's got to be a way to spread that. And again, and if I can be of help, I know. So you've had so many guys and gals go through the program. They reach out to you all the time. What we want to do is maybe branch that out. I would love to take some of those text messages from you.
Yeah, well, you do. You're going to be. I mean,
a lot of the guys.
A
lot of the guys and gals that have left recently, I get their contact information. I check up on them. I'm there for them,
means a lot.
and I want to be there for them as well. Not just because of them, but I also want to be there so that your phone's not blowing up all the time. Because again, you have to have.
You know what? And I think you'll admit this too. There's a little bit of selfishness in there. Where
absolutely.
Don't you feel good about it? Don't you sleep better at night knowing you just helped somebody, that you made some 24-year-old kid who's struggling in Charlotte, North Carolina, his night got better because he talked to me.
Yeah.
Or I said, it's going to be okay. You don't have to gambling. You're not alone. And I sleep better at night knowing I've done that. And that's my selfishness. Yeah. That's where the only time it comes into me anymore.
Yeah, it's a selfish thing. It's tough because I don't want to be manipulative, and I'm not.
No.
But it is that selfish thing. Like I love getting a text randomly from somebody that says, "Hey, I'm struggling with X, Y, or Z," and being able to say, "I'm here for you, man."
And you know where it starts to show up about getting burned out and getting a little tired is when I start getting too many. I get something, I don't answer them right away, and then I start feeling a bit guilty about it. And I should never be like that because I'm doing the best I can.
Right.
But I'm being overwhelmed sometimes, and I've got to be better.
Yeah.
I'm learning. I'm learning.
Right.
That's where people like you come in.
Right.
And
if you see like where you're at right now, on those days where you're feeling like that mantle and the stress and overwhelm, and you've got 20 text messages you got to get back to. You're in this 10 months. What is 10
years
look like?
What am I going to look like?
You're talking with hundreds of people now on a weekly basis. How do you?
I have to be able to, expand the web. People like you taking on 10 of our friends, 10 of the people we've been through, they call you sometimes instead of calling me, or they call the other guys.
Right.
And we turn it into a network, because I always love hearing that people say they want to go home and they want to get involved.
Yeah.
It doesn't always happen. In fact, it's one out of a few. But if 1 out of 100 does it, that's 10 more people who are going to be made a difference for it.
But we also can't expect everybody to be.
They've got lives.
They got lives, and
they're not going to be zealots like we're becoming. But I tell you what, just the final part about this, the miracle about the whole thing for me is just, I never thought this could be me.
Right.
I never thought that this could be my life. And as my thing says, and as you always give me is, lucky me. I'm the luckiest guy in the whole world. I am, because I didn't die that day. I didn't die 3 years ago, never being the best person I could be.
Mm-hmm.
I am today.
Yeah.
I am today, and I got to do it. I got to be the best person I am today. I'm getting emotional because that's who I am now. I feel
you're a good guy.
I'm trying, man.
I'm a big believer in things aren't coincidence. Things are put into our lives, and again, going back to getting my wife irritated at times, saying I'm grateful I went through this. I'm grateful that you went through your trauma.
It's okay to say it, right? Me too, man.
Because had you not, I couldn't have
never met you. Never. And I think about that all the time. How lucky am I to know you?
Right.
We could have passed in a Walmart 5 years ago, and you still would have nobody to me.
Yeah.
But now you're my friend, and you matter to me, and you matter to the world. It's deep, man.
So,
I don't want to be. I don't want to sound like I'm talking ever from a pulpit. I want to be the guy on the street who is you.
Yeah.
That's who I want to be, and I want to scream at the top of my lungs. Don't suffer like I did.
Yeah.
Don't. Let's smile.
Yeah.
End of the day, let's be happy and laugh, because sometimes we get shit about being laughing, and I never apologize. You know that.
Yeah.
Never
apologize, because we weren't laughing
Nope.
not too long ago. So, well, Doug, thanks so much, man, for coming on the podcast, being the first guest. This has been a learning experience for me.
It's been about 9 hours.
Yeah. But
I love you, man.
I love you too, man.
Yeah,
I really do. I really love you. I appreciate you taking the time out of your life. Again, even though you don't have a lot of free time, spend some time with me. And unfortunately, again, it's still going back to that same cause of making a difference.
Yeah, but you had no choice. You had no choice, but obviously you're going to be here, because I would never have let you live it down.
So we'll definitely have to get some free time, Doug and Blair time, where it's not just about gambling, where we can.
That's going to happen. I'm going to get that dinner, you promise me.
Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Betting on Recovery. We are so grateful for all of our listeners, and we hope you all find peace in this journey and know that you are loved and that you are enough.